Hello, my name is Peter Walker. Today I'm going to be focusing on Argentina, which is in the news because it recently elected a new president who is promising very dramatic changes in Argentina. So, first, Argentina is an important country. It's a member of the G20. It's the second largest economy in South America and therefore very important to both China and the US. The second thing about Argentina is over 90% of its economy is agriculturally based and therefore vulnerable to the weather and longer term climate change. So its economy is more vulnerable than those that are more dependent either on energy or on a steady industrial base. Argentina is going through very difficult times financially. It's had inflation in the most recent year of over 140%. It's been in a cycle that many countries go through who do not have hard currency, and that is a cycle of overspend, especially government spending and state-owned enterprising, create debt, and because it's difficult to finance that debt, the answer is print more money, and that's what drives high inflation. And also, as a common side effect, you frequently have a reasonably high level of corruption. So, and when you bring it all down to the people level, 2 in 5 in Argentina are living in poverty. So this is a country that is struggling very much financially. It's elected a new leader, Javier Milei, who has no real substantial government experience. He's an economist with a TV program. But when someone like that gets elected, it's not because of their track record. It's because people are fed up with things the way they are and they want dramatic change. And Argentina, has been run under the Peronist Party, which was founded by Juan Perón many decades ago. And they've been essentially in power for decades. So this is a turning of the page on the part of the people of Argentina. If you look at what the program is that the new president is putting forward, it's very controversial. One of the first things he wants to do is to replace the peso with the US dollar, which obviously would give them the advantage of hard currency. But converting from the peso to the US dollar would require probably 40 billion in US dollar reserves that Argentina does not now have. So the first question is he going to be able to make that change in the currency or not? Obviously, one opportunity or potential source of funds would be credit markets. But right now, Argentina does not have a credit rating, and all of its borrowing has come from the IMF and from foreign bondholders, but it's not credit-worthy security. So Argentina doesn't really have access to that particular source. A second major plank that he ran on is dramatically shrinking the government. The government, in terms of number of jobs, has more than doubled in the last 10 years. Corruption is extremely high, and a number of state-owned enterprises are also very bloated. So financial reforms is going to be at the heart of it. The challenge with financial reforms is the people who get hurt the most by that are those at the bottom of the economic ladder. So the question is, even though he probably scored very well with promises and getting the votes of everyday people in Argentina, they're the ones who are going to be asked to bear the brunt of the sacrifice of his programs. So the question is, what does this change mean for China and the US longer term? I'd say up until the Belt Road Initiative, the US has been the dominant global player in influence, and generally using the tagline that we stand for democracy and human rights, and we will do anything we can to help increase the proportion of countries around the world who are democratic and support human rights. China, when it launched the Belt Road Initiative, took a very different approach to influencing countries. They basically said, we're not here to impose on you or even suggest to you how you should manage yourselves. We know you all have very strong needs in infrastructure and needs to have strong trading partners. So that's what we're going to focus on. So under the Belt Road Initiative, we've seen China develop much stronger relationships with those countries, largely by becoming their leading trading partner and also providing infrastructure in many different forms. So I think when you think about how China and the US are going to approach Argentina, I think China has already said our primary value added to developing countries is going to be trade and it's going to be infrastructure. The US, therefore, I think is in a position of needing to come up with a value proposition that goes beyond ideology and actually helps those countries' economies. I think China is trying to do that, and I think many people would say they've had a fair amount of success in doing it. So I think the question in the US is going to be, do they have the financial resources and the will in an era where people are increasingly feeling that the US is threatening to become more isolationist? So I think that's the real challenge going forward. I think it's China continue to do more of the same with the Belt Road for the US. The US is going to have to rethink what its value proposition is. Thank you.